Welcome into our 3-round mock draft for the New Orleans Saints. Here coming up for the 2025 NFL Draft. The Saints have been the definition of mid-average, if you will, for the last couple seasons. Have mightily struggled ever since Drew Brees left. Sean Payton has now left, and they're left holding up the pieces. Chase, we got a lot of work to do here for the Saints. What are your thoughts here on where the Saints are currently standing coming into the draft?
Yeah, this is a rough draft for me. I don't know what the Saints are going to do. I think the Saints are complete wild cards. I think there's about 30 prospects they could take here. I think they have picked 9, if I remember right off the top of my head. They have picked 9 that they could, and I could see them going a million different ways. I'm sure I'll get into some of the ways that I would go if I was running the Saints, but I think almost anyone they pick at 9 would be a drastic improvement over their roster. Right, this is one of the oldest rosters in the NFL. They don't have a lot going for it. So it's kind of like pick what you want to replace, right? And you could do whatever you want. But for team needs, I know like we love PFF, we use PFF. They have some team needs. I think their team needs could be like everything. So, but safety, like everything but safety.
Yeah. A lot of work for sure. As far as the United States, they obviously got a new head coach, turning over a new leaf, new head coach, new defensive coordinator, new everything basically as they're trying to keep moving forward. Well, their problem is they're stuck with the same general manager, Mickey Loomis, who has really put them in a bind a lot of the time of what they're dealing with here. But it'll be exciting to see what they do on draft night. But we are going to do our best to draft a draft class that will begin to turn around the Saints here if everything else goes as planned. But before we get to the actual draft part itself, let's take stock of where they're at currently after free agency. Chase, so walk us through the key additions and key departures so far for the Saints.
Yeah. So how did that this? The Saints, right? So their departures is lucky for them. I don't really have them have a lot of key departures. They did lose linebacker Willie Gay, who they signed from the 2-time Super Bowl winning linebacker Willie Gay, who they signed from the Chiefs, right? They did lose him. Gay is a good player, but this roster didn't have a lot of people to lose to make it key departures. But they did spend some money in the offseason. They brought in safety Justin Reed, again from the Chiefs. Wide receiver Brandon Cooks. They brought a reunion back with Cooks. They brought in inside the offensive lineman Dylan Rundez, inside defensive tackle Devin Godchecks, cornerback. They re-signed cornerback Paulson Abdebo and re-signed a former first-round pick in Peyton Turner. So they brought back a couple pieces that are nice, but not like anything special. Signed, I'd say Reed and Cooks are the biggest signings this offseason. So those are the major key additions, right? And I think both of those help those teams, right? I think Reed, like I said, solidifies the safety position where that's the only position that I'd be shocked if they draft. Like if they don't need a safety, like don't draft a safety. You're good there for a little bit.
Yeah. So not too many departures. They made a lot of additions, so they've been one of the more active teams so far here in free agency, which now leads us up here to the draft. So we're going to go ahead and pull up our mock draft simulator right here. Just as a reminder, this is rounds 1 through 3 with no trades. So our picks are locked in here, starting here at pick number 9. And let's go ahead and get the Saints on the clock as we see where we're at here for our first overall pick. So looking at here, I think this is a perfect setup. Some weird things that they do in these mock drafts. A lot of some things that probably aren't realistic, but we have to go with what we get. And we're at pick number 9 here. So a lot of different things here obviously are on the clock here. To me, Chase, the more I'm looking at this, actually, the more I'm thinking about it. And maybe this is just because we've just come off of talking, doing a podcast about our top 5 linebackers. I think Jalen Walker, to me, might be the pick here at pick number 9. We're looking at the defense of what they have. Obviously, they're very old they're very extremely old on defense. Looking at the scheme that the Brandon Staley is going to run, I think could be a really good spot for Jalen Walker, a guy that could be able to tee off the edge, come down. I mean, look, they extended Chase Young, but Chase Young has been a huge bust compared to what we thought he was coming out there. Jalen Walker has that potential. So to me, I'm not seeing it up here, but I think he should still be up here for us. I think to me that might be the pick. That's kind of where I'm leaning at. Jalen Walker, Chase. I don't know if that might be a little too early, but like I said, with the Saints, it's kind of a crapshoot. But I'm kind of liking that pick right here.
Yeah, no. My first ever mock draft, I have Jalen Walker to the Saints. I really like that fit. I think he is a kind of a raw talent that could grow with the team that doesn't need him to be Superman from day one. Of course, New Orleans is a team that is not drafting a Superman, right? They're not drafting someone to get them to the playoffs because they're not a playoff team. I really like that. The only other thing that I would look at would be way Jalen Walker's. I think he would be, he's more skilled, more versatile. Versatility kills in the NFL. So he's still my pick, but you have maybe one of the most washed players in NFL is currently playing. That's Cameron Jordan. And James Pierce Jr. looks like he's still on the board. And James Pierce Jr. is an insane talent. Like, I think he should be probably gone by now. But so I would weigh that. I think Jalen Walker is still the way I would go, but with Kellen Moore just seeing the trenches win a Super Bowl, right? And what better way to build the Super Bowl than grab the guy who tied Abdul Carter for the most pass rush win rates this past season? Like, so those are my two guys that I'm dealing with, is either Walker or Pierce, and I'd be fine with either one of them.
Yeah, I'm a big Pierce guy. I think for the sake of this draft, though, I just think maybe Jalen Walker might be a better match for Brandon Staley's scheme. He could play off the edge or rush off the edge, play off the ball in coverage, can stop the run. I get, obviously, James Pierce Jr. is a pass rusher. I love him a lot. I wouldn't be mad about it. I think defense is here. I think maybe as far as with the Saints, right here, like, yeah, I mean, James Pierce Jr. could probably come in. You could think maybe they could replace Cameron Jordan. So, like, I don't in the future, I don't hate it at all. But I think maybe at least for this type of scheme fit, I think maybe Jalen Walker might be the better pick.
Yeah, no, I'm all for that.
Okay, so let's lock in Jalen Walker here for a pick here at number 9. And we're up again next round at pick 40. And we are back on the clock, looking here at kind of the needs here that we still have. Obviously, running back, wide receiver, defensive line. Here that the Saints are giving us, or PFF is giving us, Chase, we've got Jalen Walker here in round 1. Where should we take us in round 2?
Yeah, I'd be okay attacking anything. I think the value that we're seeing right there, just looking at their first 5 picks with Trey Amos still there, or Jaden Higgins, right? Those are two guys that jump out off the screen to me. I know PFF doesn't say we need a cornerback because we just drafted Kool-Aid McKinstry, but we have really just Kool-Aid and Paulson Adebo. There's no one else really back there, right? We traded away Marshawn Lattimore. We talking as the Saints GM, right? We traded away Marshawn Lattimore. This cornerback for this defensive backfield is really paired by that. I like Trey Amos a lot, especially value at pick 40. That's probably where I would go look to replace a guy of Lattimore's hole that he left in the team. So I think that's where I would go. I'd be okay with Higgins, right? Because our wide receivers, I think our wide receivers are sadly a better part of our team, even though they're not great. Like Olave, if he could find himself, a better helmet and not have Derek Carr throw him to the gravesite, is a really good wide receiver. Brandon Cooks, even at his age, is still a top wide receiver too. I really liked what's their speedy tall guy, Rashid Shaheed. Yes, Rashid Shaheed. He looked electric at times. So I don't think wide receiver is the place that we go, even though one of our favorite wide receivers still there.
Yeah, I'm with you. It might be tempting, especially with the guy like Jaden Higgins there. Like, man, we could really grab him because we can use the help, but it's not the area that we need help the most at. I think there are other places that we can use. And I was just looking here kind of at running backs, just kind of see where all the running backs are still here. Round 2. Oh, it's crazy. All the running backs are still here. I mean, we look at the running backs outside of Alvin Kamara, they don't have anybody. Kendre Miller, they took a pick on, but seems like it wasn't really vibing with Dennis Allen, the old head coach. There were some issues there. Jordan Mims, Bellis Jones Jr. Obviously, I mean, they're 4 deep, but they don't really have anybody. So I might be looking at almost like a running back here at pick number 44. That's a clear position need. Have somebody, I can have another somebody come up here and spell Alvin Kamara. I mean, we got the two twins. I mean, Trey Henderson, Quinton Junkins here to spell it there. So I mean, I don't mind the cornerback pick. I don't think you'd have enough depth in your secondary at all. But I just wanted to check, and the fact that these big players are still here around 2 could be a huge draft steal this early here at pick 40. So I might actually looking at here. I might actually go. Running back or quarterback. I think is a fine place to start.
Yeah, no, I agree a lot. It would be really cool if Caleb Johnson didn't just go 2 picks before us. That would be ideal for spell Alvin Kamara. But also, I like Quinton Junkins spelling Alvin Kamara right. I think Travion Henderson has a play style kind of too similar to Trayvon to Kamara already. Even though Kamara's at the end of his career as a running back. So if you want to replace him, Henderson's right there. But I think I don't think you'd go wrong. We just went through it, so we both know where we stand. I'm really high on Junkins. You're higher on Henderson. But so I wouldn't mind taking a running back. When is our next pick as a Saint?
71.
Okay, so we've got to make, if we want a running back, if we want a quality running back or quality cornerback, this is our pick. So
yeah.
Yeah,
because these guys for sure are not going to last till pick 71. I like the Junkins play. I think it's best to have a balanced backfield. You don't want to have 2 the same players. I think you want to have 2 different looks, because if you're the same player, then the defense doesn't have to make any changes. The defense could just stay doing the same exact thing. I don't think that benefits you as an offense. So even though I like Trayvon Henderson more than Quinton Junkins, as far as the scheme fit and team fit, I would pick Junkins here in this position.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Okay, let's do it.
I like Junkins
here. All right. And so obviously we're back there at pick 71. And as we see, all these other running backs are going. And now we're up here at pick 71. So awesome. So just to review what we've got here, we've got defense, we've got offense, we've got 2 more picks here still in top 3 rounds. Pick 71 and pick 93. So 2 picks here in round 3. Now we can kind of start maybe addressing some of these other needs here we're talking about. We still have wide receiver, defensive line. Let's take a look here. Wide receivers, still some great wide receivers on the board here for us. I know Jalen Royals is awesome. He's definitely an underrated guy coming into it. Trey Harris, a guy I'm pretty high on. I think it'd be a steal. So I like those picks there. As far as receiver goes, let's check our DBs. Yeah, so now we kind of get DBs. I think Kobe Bryant could be sneaky, but I think he could last farther than here in this pick here. So we want to take a look at. Let's take a look. I guess we can take a look here at defensive as well. Herbert, Larry Roberts, Taylor Waller. Yeah, so nothing too.
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing too crazy.
There.
But Jalen Royals. I like Jalen Royals a lot. Trey Harris is there. Is this the first pick where we take a wide receiver?
Yeah, this would be where I'd be comfortable taking a wide receiver if I was the Saints, right? I'd want to address 2 positions before I get to wide receiver. The Royals is really nice. I like Harris a lot. Another guy, the Williams from TCU. He's got the height and the ball catching ability.
I think as far as New Orleans goes, especially with their new head coach, which I'm completely blanking on, Kevin Moore. Is that Moore? Kevin Moore, yeah. I think Trey Harris actually might be a really, really good fit for them. A guy, true X receiver that can go down the field, kind of similar to what Rashid Shaheed does for him. Come in and have a player like that could spell him, or come in and add that to it, add more dynamic offensive down the field. I think Chris Olave is going to be the intermediate guy. He could make those sure catches. You add more on the outside of the deep threat, take the top off. I know that's what Derek Carr likes. That's their kind of Rashid Shaheed mold, and they were having a lot of success before Rashid got hurt for the entirety of the year, really early on in the season. So add a kind of guy like that. I think I kind of would go with Trey Harris here. I think that scheme fit wise with the Saints, I think works better. for me.
Yeah, and especially with I just made the connection. Kellen Moore just seen a lot of success. I mean, he's seen a lot of success with a 6'3" Ole Miss wide receiver and AJ Brown.
Yeah.
So I could see him going, right. This is a new head coach, first time head coach, first draft, right? Big draft for him. So I could see him just trying to emulate that success, right? With a running back that we've kind of done that. We got a linebacker to emulate the pressure that the Eagles put on a running back so he could set up his running lanes like he did for Saquon with Kamara and Jenkins splitting those carries, and now a wide receiver that he could throw lobs to just like AJ Brown. This is probably a Kellen Moore wet dream of a draft for him right now.
Okay, cool. So Dre Harris then.
Yes.
Let's do it. All right, one more pick here. Pick number 93. Maybe this is where we'll kind of where value meets kind of the prediction. What we got here, we can look at defensive line here. I think maybe.
Yeah.
We're kind of looking here at David Walker, came on Rucker. Let's look at David Walker. Games played, good production. I think Creasy had a really good 2022 season, 16 sacks, and then 12 sacks. That's good. Quarterback hits is pretty good. Hurries is good. So even when he's not getting there, he's still getting hurried. Gameplay didn't play. Oh, no, played a pretty good season. So pass rush snaps, run defense snaps. So pretty good. Outside tackle, off ball. Those are pretty good. Let's look at Kamen Rucker here. Similar, but the production definitely is not as there as much as it was as David Walker.
Yeah.
That's such Arkansas. So
this might be a reach for him at our pick here, which is what 93. But I really like Ojue from UCLA. I mentioned him post Columbine, right? His athleticism, his edge sharpness, right? He gets off the ball fast. He's just an athletic specimen that you don't have right now in that Saints defensive line, right? This again, that you'll be reaching to meet a need, I think, right? But I don't know ball, but I'm not familiar with David Walker. I can't say I've watched a lot of or any Central Arkansas, so I'm not familiar
a Central
with him.
Arkansas. What is that? A Bear fan?
Grizzly, yeah.
A Grizzly? No, I'm with you. I mean, you look at the schedule that they play. And yeah, you can obviously look at. I mean, obviously, a guy like when UCLA is playing way more competition than that is. Games played, and so these types of stats obviously can be very overly inflated. Like double-digit sacks, double-digit hurries. Like you're just looking at it in the vacuum, like okay, yeah, like that was pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's Digbo. I think Olad Digbo. I don't know. I'll learn to say it for you.
You're throwing a B in there. I don't know where you're getting the B from.
I know.
But I'm good. I'm good with going this bit. Like I said, it's probably a reach, a little bit of a reach. But definitely, I think there's kind of a more fundamental and like a basis there for a guy at UCLA than Central. And who knows? Maybe David Walker could come in and repeat that and keep that up. But I think we kind of know what we're getting for Big Ten football. And so whenever you're kind of at this moment where you're kind of wishy-washy on something, kind of go with something more that you can kind of trust. And that's definitely Big Ten football.
And when I was watching, I watched UCLA. I not a lot, but I'd say a decent amount this year. And as you were watching Carson Swessinger, who's just a not rock solid linebacker, this guy jumps off the charts at you as with his athleticism, right? Does that turn into a good player? Maybe not, but at least you have the potential there with his athleticism. So I'm okay reaching on an athletic prospect.
Yeah. And admittedly, we came into us both with this is probably a really hard draft to nail as far as it comes with the Saints. They could just go a lot of different ways. I mean, even this doesn't like it. C minus, avenue. A hard team to draft for. I think the Saints are definitely one of the more difficult teams. We wanted to try it and give it our best shot, kind of diagnosing where they've been, where they're at currently, and what can be the future. I really don't hate this draft at all. I think we've got good quality picks here. I mean, especially those top three are. They're studs. Like, let's just be honest. Like, to say, maybe it's just because it's a linebacker, it's an F. So to say that's an F, I think is a stretch. But overall, I think this is. I would like for the Saints. Like to me, if like I walked away, for the first two nights, and this was the Saints draft, like I wouldn't be mad about it.
No, and we kind of had a common theme in this draft. Something the Saints don't have is athleticism. Like we drafted some of the most athletic players at their positions, right? I'd say the most athletic linebacker in this draft, one of the most athletic physical specimens in Quinshon Judkins at running back, an athletic wide receiver to stretch the field, and then the athletic defensive end. Even if he doesn't play this year and let Cam Jordan have his one more year, right, to learn behind Cam Jordan, who's got all the tools in his bag, just no longer has the oomph, in his game anymore. So I would be thrilled, get a young athletic team, to start overturning that roster.
Yeah, got to. Got to at key positions, get younger, get cheaper, and that is the way forward for the New Orleans Saints. But definitely let us know in the comments your thoughts here on the Saints draft. Do you agree with PFF? Did we just completely botch it? Are we kind of on the right track? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Make sure you check out other mock drafts here as we keep going, as we get closer and closer to draft season. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you like what you see. And we'll catch you next time here on All Things Football.